roster cuts. So we went from 85 to 80 this week. And I believe, I forgot what day next week we have to be to 53, the regular season limit at 53. So with that, there really were no big surprises. I would say the only big surprise was Derek Gore going to IR with a broken thumb. That was kind of the big thing. All the cuts, none of them were surprises. Niang's been moved up to the reserve PUP list. So now I guess with the new rules, what is it? I think he has to miss 6 games if you're on the PUP list.
Yeah, 6 games. I think it's what the new rules are. I got to check that out again.
They've changed a lot of them because with COVID and everything, they changed a lot of they amended a lot of them.
Right.
So he moves to the reserve PUP list. Gore's on IR. Don't know what's going to happen with that. And then another surprise in Andy Reid's press conference yesterday. Blake Bell, which you mentioned earlier, he got surgery dealing with his unusual hip flexor injury, which is what everyone's saying, it's an unusual injury. So he also, there's no timetable on his return. And then when Reid was asked about if he'd be placed on IR, he said he doesn't know. Right now, the quote was, we're kind of throwing some things around right now when talking about Blake Bell's future. So they said they'll know more next week. So we'll see what's going on with that. And you kind of referenced it earlier. And, we have such a packed tight end room with Noah Gray, Jody Fortson, Travis Kelce. But Blake Bell brings a little bit something that those guys don't really offer. And that's kind of being a badass blocker, like the kind of the JD of the group. He's not JD, but, he's the JD of that group as far as blocking tight ends. So how impactful, if he is placed on IR and if he's missing some significant amount of time, how impactful is that to our offense?
I think it's definitely noticeable. It would definitely be noticeable, because he's going to be the one doing the heavy lifting from a tight end standpoint. He's a tight end that could come in, he could catch the football, but he's going to put his nose right there and make some blocks, make some really good blocks. And so I think maybe if you have where you're running, 12 or 13 personnel, you got to make sure those guys can hold up, block it. We know Travis is going to do a good job. It's going to be different from Noah, kind of coming in. We've seen him, like I said, in that one play. You just got to get lower. It's one of those things. That's another thing that you got to learn is blocking, inline blocking, and leading up in the hole. Those are things that it's like vision. You can get better at it by more practice and more experience of these things. And so, hey man, it's without a doubt it'll be noticeable, especially with some of the things that you want to do offensively. But that's kind of weird, man. I've never heard of anybody having surgery from a hip flexor injury. So it must have been something that was big. I've done that a couple of times, hip flexor, and usually it's like a couple of weeks maybe. And if you're able to move around and it's not as sore anymore, they can kind of get you going. So that surgery, man, is first time I ever heard that. But
yeah, and that's worrisome too, because just in general across sports, when a guy gets surgery on his hip, that's generally bad. That's not a good thing.
No, sure. You don't want surgery at the beginning of the season on anything. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Sure. I don't care if it's just your teeth. I don't, hey. So I don't know. I think that's what Andy, when he asked me in the press conference, like, we're moving some things, thinking some things around and moving around. It's that, they're thinking about this. There's some concern there. Mm. So I think Blake Bell was without a doubt in their offensive scheme as far as what they wanted to do. Mm. So, changes things a little bit.
Yeah, as most people know, Blake Bell, he was a quarterback in college at Oklahoma, and they moved him to tight end. He was a bigger quarterback, but then as he's been with us, he's been our QB sneak guy. He's been our quarterback for the QB sneak.
Yeah. So, not saying you can't have another guy do it, but like I said, it kind of, I don't know, maybe you tear a page out of your book. Got it. We ain't got this guy to, shoot. Well, let's scratch this one. Okay. Let's figure out what we can do. Jody, can you do it? Noah, can you do it? So.
Do you think with Blake Bell, potentially, we don't know if he's going to go on IR or not, but, Derek Gore goes to IR, A lot of different things are happening, and with the injuries that we have with the receiver right now. So MVS also apparently missed practice today. It was undisclosed. They don't know what's going on with him. Hardman missed last week's game with the injury, the groin injury. You got JuJu missing the game with a knee swelling. Really no update on that. Reed said he's getting better every day. He said. Do you think there's a chance our guy? I mean, obviously we know we feel about Josh Gordon, but do you think we will bring on the 6th receiver? I mean, I think that 6th receiver is necessary with. I mean, how much we use. We go 5 wide sometimes. We use receivers a lot. I mean, it's going to be necessary to have an extra receiver out there, and with all these other injuries going on IR with our tight ends and skill players, do you think there can be room for Josh to be on the team as a 6th guy?
I mean, I'm gonna say yes. I mean, because if this is an indication for things to come, I mean, you got to keep a guy like that close, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the reality of it. And so we said JuJu, Hardman, MVS, and I'm sure all of this is just maintenance. You want to make sure these guys are resting up for the first of the season because this is when you need them. You don't need these guys now. Mm-hmm. These guys later down the road during the games when they start counting. And so you want to make sure that you hold these guys back. You're not going in there for anything crazy. We don't need you right now. We need for you to be 100% rolling when that first whistle, the first bell against Arizona. And so that's a good thing because now we have wide receivers. We got a deep room of wide receivers. And so we're going to see that this last game with guys. So it's going to tell a lot, man. It's going to tell a lot if Josh is going to be there, he's on the bubble, he's going to make it and not make it. So when you get down to those 53 players, man, you're going to start seeing day after day, 4 guys gone, 5 guys gone. It's just going to be rolling out. That's how it is. That's how it works in the NFL. And to be honest with you, when these things happen, to me, it was almost like camp became like a ghost town. She's like, man, where'd everybody go? Right? Now, seriously, practice is, where you had bodies, it seemed like a regular team, but then all of a sudden it's like, dang, look, I'm doing double duty. I got to do a little bit more of this. And, and so it just seems like it becomes empty until it actually settles in. Like, okay, here's the guys on the roster, this and that. And then you bring back the practice squad guys. Which makes it like, okay, now we got some of those guys back. But before then, when those numbers start dwindling down, it's like, wow, like you didn't expect this guy to be gone. So you don't know, man. Yeah, I just don't know. When you got to get to that 53, man, you're going to have to cut the fat. That's how it works,
And it goes pretty fast. Like, it's like,
It goes pretty fast, man. Seriously. And it's, guys get a call in the middle of the night and you don't see them. It's like, man, where did such and such? Oh man, dad got it. Jeffrey didn't get to stick around. Dad got it. I like Jeffrey. I didn't even get his number. I got to make sure, get him a call, see where he's at and check up in on it. Man, it's a brotherhood. That's what it is. And so you start, becoming friends with guys, and this is like one of the saddest times of, football. Is when you start seeing your friends and hey man, they called me, man, and this I gotta go, and it's like, dang, God, man, like I thought you was gonna make it, man, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta imagine, you playing in the league for so long, you definitely saw guys where like they knew it was the end of the line for them. It's like, this is it for me. I'm done. Like I'm probably not gonna sign with another team. I'm probably done after this, and that's sad too, because you see a lot of these guys are coming to realization that this is end of the line, and that's probably really sad.
Yeah, well, guys that's probably been in cuts like 4 or 5 times, maybe, yes. But maybe if you're kind of young, you still got hope.
Right.
Like I said, you got other teams out there and you hopefully get some good on film.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing why guys are pressing to make plays and doing well, because, they have guys looking at you, have eyes on you. So you're hoping that your performance will carry over to maybe, being somewhere else. It just didn't work, with the current team that you're on. Right. But like we say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
100%.
And so we have seen that for guys go from one place to another and do really well.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man, look, over the years, I've been lockers and guys been gone, man. I remember one time when I was in Philly, it seemed like we had somebody in there every week, a new guy. It was crazy, the type of revolving door of guys.
Dang.
You know, it's tough.
And I always feel for the guys who get signed like during midway during training camp, and they're like one of the first. They're amongst the second group out. So it's like the guy was there for like 5 days, and he got cut. He was amongst the first group out, and that never made sense to me.
Shoot, you need bodies, but hey, shoot, that 5 days, you better do what you can in that 5 days.
Yeah,
making a huge impression. You have to do that. I mean, you got to be the first one down on everything, and so just got to stand out.
Yeah,
I tell you who did it kind of with us, man. When he kind of came in, was Bobby Scipio. Remember Scipio when Sip came in?
He got cut. I was pissed off when he got cut. He did well that training camp.
I know it, man. Sip was catching everything too, boy. I'm trying to tell you, man. Sip, I don't care, man. Everything looked pretty. Everything he was catching, I was like, man, he gonna get on. Yeah. Sip gonna be here. So,
yeah, that was a surprise. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.